Hey folks, and welcome to this video. First of all, I apologize for the noise, but I'm at the school at the moment. The internet of the house is simply killing me, a slow death, a very very slow death. So I thought I'd come to the school here, which is the best internet on the island, and do a symposium. So there might be a little bit of background noise of some people and maybe some chickens and dogs and stuff, but please do not be too distracted. But I promised to talk about doing a symposium for the shorter term trading, so I'm just going to do that now, and I'll show like a few things as to what I like to do and what I'm looking for, and hopefully it'll be useful for you guys who like to like a bit of action on the small time frames. Cool. Well, I mean, my dashboard is looking like this. This has been like this for as far back as I can remember. This is like a really old configuration where I have my strength information on the right and I have my price charts on the left, and this is monthly strength, this is weekly strength, and this is daily strength. And so I can see what the American dollar and the euro are doing relative to each other on the monthly chart, the weekly chart, and the daily chart. And this is very useful information, and essentially I need to see where we have these crossovers, these currency strength divergences, where they're happening. And so I take the information from here and I go to the supply and demand chart, and then I find my entries. So I figure out what I'm going to be trading by looking at this information, and then I go to the supply and demand chart and find my entries. So if you're on the small time frame, which many of you are, actually before I do that, let's have a quick look at the configuration. Okay, so here we have this is set to the look back setting, looking at 48 weeks, and this is showing me the development of the currencies over the course of the past 48 weeks. This is the longer term view, which is a year essentially. Here I have information here that is telling me what is going on for currency strength over the past 20 days. Okay, and so actually this is weeks, days, and this is probably hours or 4-hour periods. Okay, so this is a little bit faster. This is showing what's going on more on the here and now, so the daily strength. And then we have here at the bottom, I'm looking at the past 34-hour periods, and this is kind of showing me a pretty quick information as to what's going on over the past week or so between these two currencies. And this is really useful information. And so what I do is normally this is going to be set to 4 so I can see all the currencies, and I can see here what's moving, and right away I can see, okay, we have the pound, which is really strong, we have the yen, which is going down, we have the Aussie, which has been weak and now it's starting to pick up, we have the dollar and the franc and the euro that are going down. So we have the Australian and the Kiwi are going up, Singapore and dollars flat, we have the Canadian, which are going up. So you can see that this is kind of the more kind of medium term. It's difficult to see on this chart because they're all scrunched together, so I normally kind of go like that and see, okay, what's moving on this chart. And you can see that the Aussie Swiss franc and the Aussie American dollar are starting to diverge. So buy the Aussie and sell these two here. Okay, so if I take this information with me and I go to the Aussie American dollar, which is a buy signal, you can see that this divergence, currency strength divergence, happened here. So if we look at when this happened, actually this is the hourly chart, so this should be 4-hour. So I can see when this happened, and this happened a few days ago, so on Friday. So if I have a look over here and I look for Friday, whoa, wrong button. Here we have Friday, so this is where Friday is down here. So this is happening at the point where price is accumulating at demand. I wouldn't have gotten into this trade because price didn't come back far enough. But I think you get the idea. So you have price pulling back. Essentially, we have the buy zone starting here. Okay, I mean price went up and it kind of pulled back to this level. This is the last release. Price poked back into it, so we're in the beginning of the buy zone, the edge of it. Price is accumulating to move price higher, and then it pops up. So now, longer term, we should see this pair, not longer term, medium term, we should start to see this pair drift a little bit higher. Notice on the this is my daily with weekly and daily supply and demand, and we have a trend line that's just about to be broken. So essentially we want this area of weekly supply to be taken out, but the price is looking pretty strong. But notice here we have a downward sloping trend line, and the trend line is broken. Okay, so we have this area of supply has been tested a lot, once, twice, three times, price moved away, and now we're seeing market structure begin to break down. We have this market structure failure. We have maybe accumulation going on just here, just below this trend line. If you're looking to do some shorter term trades, then you would essentially want to, let me mark this off. We can see where that level is. Got a 50-minute chart, and you can see that the trend line broke from here. And if you look at the indicator, it's pretty much showing us a few interesting areas. We have this one here, this one, and then we have this one. I like this one the most, simply because it's just the release is a lot sharper. So price came from here, it rallied, we accumulated for one period, another period, and so another thing we can see is we have our trend line. This is like a big low, and here we have another low, and you see how the tummy is kind of pushing through. This is kind of telling me that price is, I call it sagging, because we have the trend line and price is sagging below it. And so this is telling me that price is potentially extended. Of course, overextension, overbought, oversold, that's completely relative. So that's it's almost garbage to say that it's too high. But this is just telling me that in accordance to market structure, I mean, we have the sagging here, price is bleeding through this trend line, so we're going to see probably price pull back to roughly these areas before we should start to buy. And so notice that I'm on I'm looking at the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour strength information. I'm waiting for a trend line to be broken on the 4-hour chart, which we have here. But my entry could be done on the 50-minute chart. Okay, so I'm just not going on to these smaller time frames and just clicking into trades based on what I can see. I'm using the longer term flows, which I take from currency strength, like so. And you can pause the video just to get an idea of how I'm configuring these. But you can see that, wow, we're starting to see these two kind of move towards each other here. And so this will probably begin to move high, at least for the kind of the medium term, short to medium term. Keep in mind that we are kind of testing this supply here for the second time. Price went all the way through it, so I would expect that this would not hold again, and this low is not below this low, and so we have higher lows, which is good. And so essentially we could see price continue to move higher. So I would simply start to look to buy. Then you ask yourself the question, well, where would you want to buy? And this is where you start to look for these the beginnings of these buy zones. I mean, I really like this one here. I really like that. And to be textbook clear, we have rally, accumulation, rally, accumulation, rally, parent, child. So I like this one the best. Price may not come back there. For this particular price move, the beginning of the buy zone starts here. So start to buy here, and this is kind of the end of the buy zone. I mean, I like that, but if you're on the smaller time frames, you can certainly be doing the same analysis on the smaller time frames and just looking for tiny areas of supply and demand. We have this one here. This is a 5-minute area of demand. I mean, price rallied, we accumulated, we popped up. That's a pretty interesting area. If we mark off the high here and we scroll left and see what this managed to do, yeah, when price left, moved above here, over here to the right, we managed to take this out. So we could mark this off like so. We could remove this. There you can see, yeah, well, this area is the one that did it. So you can actually move a little bit at a time. You can move this like this, and this is the area of demand that was responsible for taking out that supply back there to the left. And so price will probably have a bit of a bounce at this area. It's probably not going to go on forever, but for these intraday trades, I mean, this would be a really nice, interesting area to look at, to buy. Okay, let's have a look at some other examples, and you can see I'm just dragging these onto the chart like so, like this. Okay, we've got the pound. Let's see what the pound's doing. And the pound is really kind of, see, it's kind of picking up. It kind of maybe bottomed out. Now it's picking up. We're having a pullback. But if you look at me see what this is set on. This is on the daily chart. So if we go to the daily chart here, and this is the 4 hours. This should be 4 hour, and this is weekly. So this needs to be on the weekly chart. And the reason this is important is because when this crossover happened, I need to know where that is. So price crossed over on the 10th of January. So if we go here and we have a look at the 10th of January, the 10th of January is right here. Okay, so this is where price started to do this. We look here and we go to the small time frame and say strength information, say okay, when precisely did this happen? On the small time frame, this didn't happen. Actually, it happened already on the 4th of January. Okay, so you go back to the 4th of January. Here. So this is where it happened. Okay, back. One of the perks of working at school, they have a co-working space at the Green School, and my kids can come and see me, which is quite nice. So my eldest just came by to say hi, and essentially that's why we moved here, you know, to spend more time with our families, and now I can see them all the time, all day. I love it, absolutely love it. Okay, so back to this. So we're looking at the 4th of January. This is when the crossover happened. So if we go to the small time frame and find the 4th, where is the 4th? The 4th is here. Let's see when the beginning of 4th. In here. I mean the 4th, and this is where it happened. This is where the crossover happened. Okay, on the 4 hour chart, this is where it happened. It was at the 126.50 area. I mean, look at that move since then. And you can see here, if you're on the smaller time frames and you're paying attention to the strength information on the right, and you're on this tiny time frame here, you can get your orders in at really nice levels, because you can see here we had a little bit of a pop out there, price came down, and then it left. And this is this is the 4th, so around here. So this is where we had the currency strength divergence. We saw that in the strength, it popped up. So this is a natural place to buy, and then you just hold it until when? Well, until these things start to move in towards each other. And you can see, I mean, the dollar's going down. I mean, look at this. We have the pound, which is really low, and it's moving higher. The dollar is kind of flat, but on the medium term, the daily strength information, I mean, the pound is roaring and the dollar's going higher. And so I think there's no reason to get out of this trade now. You could actually move your stop up to below this continuation pattern here if you want to protect yourself a little bit, but otherwise there's nothing telling you that you should be getting out of this trade. Okay, I can see that the fan's making a lot of noise. You know, I just turn the fan off because I can see that it's making a bit of a hurricane sound there. Okay, so this is just like a really good example. So what I'm doing is I'm normally just dragging these on like that. So I am, of course, paying attention to the longer time frames, but I'm allowed to take my entries on the smaller time frames. If you look at these two here, you can see that, I mean, the dollar's flat, the Aussie's flat. The Aussie just crossed the dollar. And when did this happen? This happened the 25th. That happened just here. Okay, so the 25th. Let's find out what the 25th is. Just here. So the same thing we saw here. Just here, the 25th. Same thing applies. We're approaching this trend line. Looks like we're about to bust through it. The price is looking pretty strong. See how the dollar's moving down. And so we can expect this to drift a little bit higher. But we are kind of buying into a weekly supply. It has been tested a lot, though, so I don't expect this to hold. But so we could find ourselves a nice entry on the smaller time frame and ride this north for a little while. Have a look at this one here. Let's see what the dollar and the CAD are doing. Well, you can see here that the CAD picked up in strength on the 8th. When did this happen? Go back here. Okay. It actually happened on the 3rd, on this one here. So the 3rd at about, let's say, 8 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the 3rd at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you go to the 3rd at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. and we had it right here. So about 4 o'clock in the afternoon is this yellow bar here. So what I would do is I would wait for price, because I mean you can see the price is going low, so I'd wait for price to accumulate and then move away and then sell that, because this, once price moves away from another continuation pattern, this is just confirmation that price is going to drift lower from there. But you can see that it doesn't look like that. And they've exchanged. You can see that the dollar moved up a little bit, and this is fine. You'll see this on the shorter time frame, strength information, but nothing has happened here. So until they cross, this is kind of like the bigger flows, and this is like the massive flows. So this is like the medium term flows. As long as these two are still diverging, then there's no reason to get out of the trade. And so again, you go to the smaller time frames, and you're just finding your entry. And here on the small time frame, that'd have been a tremendous place to sell. Just in here, you can see this candle. Let me go like this. You can see this candle just pull back, and you can see if we mark that off, once price left, mark off how we normally like to do our things, price touched it and then it left and moved away very quickly. And this is cool because you're trading in line with the fundamentals that are driving the market without having to be an economist. I'm not an economist. I have no ambitions about understanding really what's going on. I just want to know what is going on without having to be an economist, and strength information is going to help us with that. Let's have a look at another one. What do we have here? We have, I mean, these two are kind of they're going down together. You see the Swiss franc just, and this is not looking very interesting because you see how they kind of wound together like that. That kind of makes it's a thing. I mean, these are going to be moving sideways. You can see, when did this happen? On the 19th, on the 18th. On the 18th, we saw that here, the divergence kind of started to happen here. Yeah, essentially you would, I mean, because prices at supply, be a little bit careful buying the American dollar there. So I probably wouldn't do anything here. I'd say, wow, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's moving north. The franc is going lower, but this is happening at supply, and so I would be just a little bit careful. Okay. We do have this trend line break, but what I do like is that you see how we have kind of a sag here. We have like price sagging through the trend line. This is telling us that price will probably pop up. We do have this good area to buy just here. I like that very much. That's a very nice area just there. Okay, so if you're going to start selling, then you might want to be out by the time price got down here. And so go to the smaller time frame. You see we got some sag. You see price is kind of having a tough time holding. Price popped through. Now price is drifting lower, but we don't. I mean, 98.46. 98.46 is right around here, this area of demand here. So rally, accumulate a rally, and then kind of struggling to move higher. This is not showing strength. So price kind of cripples down as it enters this weekly supply. So an interesting thing there. Let's have a look here. But okay, another thing that you can do. Let's say that I don't want to look at the weekly chart, or I don't want to do this or that or whatever. What you can do is you can change the settings on the currency strength software. So you can look at this and you can say, okay, I want to know what's been going on over the course of the past 24 hours. Okay, so you enable static period. This has to be set to true to the hourly chart. Boom. So we'll see that. Okay, we saw that. There it is. It's just downloading some data. And down here you can say, cool, I want to see what's going on in the session. So since the open of the session. Okay, so we're going to go like that. Okay, we have to be on the 1 minute chart for that. Boom. Cool. So now we can see. Here we have 1 minute strength information. So this is currency strength now in relation to currency strength at the beginning of the open of the session. And I'm in the Asian session, being here in Bali. And so, well, that opened about almost 5 hours ago. And here we have the open of the day. And so this is a pretty interesting information. So you could see here that these two are diverging. So the Swiss franc is getting stronger. When did this happen? this happened. And this is longer term information because I mean the wait. Here, so I've got to be on the hourly chart. And so you can see that these two have been diverged since about, where are we? About 5 o'clock in the afternoon last week. What day was that? The 25th. That was Friday last week. Okay, so Friday last week they started to move away. Friday last week, let's have a look. Yeah, well, they started to diverge on this test of this area of supply. The indicator marked it off for us. And so knowing this, I mean, you can totally position yourself short. We have a trend line that's broken. We're doing this at weekly supply with a nested 4-hour area. So sell up in here, put your stop well above, and then just drive it lower and keep an eye out for opposing areas of demand. We have nothing. There's no demand in here. These highs just here might be interesting, so you might want to be careful once price comes here. Alternatively, down here at the highs of this and this accumulation, which essentially moved through that. Now let's have a look at something else. Let's try something weird. Let's try euro pound. Okay, so this is good. So we have the pound, which is stronger than the euro. And so, I mean, this should be falling, and you can totally see that this is happening. Let me move this up here. So this is happening, and it happened quite a while ago. Let's see, it happened on the 22nd, on my birthday. You look at the 22nd. Okay, it started to happen here, around here, when price came down here. When price starts to accumulate and move lower like this, I mean, the trend line was already drawn. And so this would be a clue that price is going to start moving lower. Actually, I got the wrong template on. This is the middle, and this is the bottom. Bottom for the active currencies. Here, active currencies here. Good. 4 hour. 4 hour. This is the daily. Good. Okay. And so, I mean, you're getting like pretty early clues that price is going to move down from here on. Okay, let's have a look. Let's turn this on. We'll enable everything. I can just enable the default template for the middle. Let's have a look. We'll zoom in, see what's going on. Okay, so we have, what do we have? We have the euro, Aussie have diverged. We have the euro Aussie and the euro Kiwi. So let's have a look at those. Let's go to the euro Aussie first. So this should be moving. This should be moving lower because they're diverging. Let's have a look. You can see, yes, well, I've seen this, and I can see I put an order in to sell just here. We have, this is telling us that you can see the euro is going down, and the Aussie dollar is flat, which means it's going to drift lower due to a weak euro, not because due to a strong Australian dollar. Change like this. Okay, so now you can see that they're starting to cross over here. Okay, which is really good. And so essentially you want to look for a place to sell. We'll be selling into weekly and daily demand, but they've been tested already, so that it doesn't mean we can't take it, just means we have to be a little bit careful. So if you go to smaller time frames here, you can see that we had this triangle that was formed. New software is doing this automatically now. I'm not drawing these myself. We tested 4-hour supply, we moved, we tested, we're doing this, we're waiting for the squeeze. The origin of the push lower is here. Okay, so you can go something like this. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this. Go like that. I just put this in around here. Put my stop well above. Um, 159.36. The stop will be 160.1.6. The target will be something like that. We'll set it to expire in a few days. Thursday. Place. So now we're going to sell here once price comes up into this kind of a messy area. Okay, so we've got that going on. Go to small time frames and make sure everything looks kosher. And that looks alright. We have this. We have the breakaway from here. Yeah, so put it like that. So we can actually have a maybe move the stuff around here like that. I like that cutaway. That's a really nice cutaway. So I think the price will have a bit of a push there once it comes back there. So this is like a short-term trade, but it's based on some pretty profound information. So we have the Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi. Where are you? There it is. So we go here. We have they'll probably look pretty similar. So what do we have in here? Oh, this kind of left a while ago. This left also on my birthday. But I like this, man. You can see this very clear. You see this? How we had push like this. Then price moves sideways and then cut away. Price hasn't been back there since then. And so I'm pretty pleased about this here. Let's kind of go double up the size there. Yeah. We'll go to the 50-minute chart and have a closer look. Make sure that we're doing alright. And you have this. I mean, look at this. This is like a really nice... What are we doing here? We're consuming liquidity. So if we get out our fine-tooth comb, we have this area. Just tested once. And now this one's gone. What area did it? This one here. Do we have parent? Child. I like the parent better. Okay, so you can either put an entry like this, or you can be conservative and put an entry like that, and double up like that. But I had really bad experience with just like putting orders, set and forget trades on areas like this, so I'd probably just box off the whole area and just have a big stop. I prefer that, so I'll go like this, like twice this whole area, like so. Go to the 4-hour chart, yeah, and do it like that. I think that looks pretty nice. Then we know we have like price left, it pulled back, and then it left. And we have, in case price decides to react at the lows here, I'll be in, and if price manages to come to the edge of the sell zone, I won't be out because my tight stop has been hit. If we look here, I mean, it doesn't go much further than that. Okay, so I mean, we could totally move it something like that, and I think probably be okay. So we'll do that one as well, and see what happens. Again, keep in mind that we are we're trading at this a test of this supply. We had market structure failed. Now we're moving into this opposing area of demand here. We'll probably have a bounce here, and hopefully move back up into this here. We don't know. We never know. Okay, so 4-hour supply. 6, 8, 8, 5, 1, 6, 9, 70. Okay, then we'll go like that. Boom. Okay, so there's the trade. We're in. Let's have a look on the daily, make sure it looks good. I like that. I'm pretty confident that price comes back up again. We'll have a bit of a bounce. It can maybe do that and kind of flush maybe somewhere where this trend line is, a daily trend line, and move away from there. We're in line with the interest rate swaps, which is good because we're collecting some good swaps there. So I like that. That's a pretty nice looking trade there. Okay. Have a look at the Kiwi. See what the Kiwi's doing. Right. The Kiwi shot up again. Kiwi dollar, boom, boom, boom. So these two are they're looking to move away from each other. So we have the daily, we have the 4 hour, we have trend line that broke, and I'll be pretty keen. I'm looking for demand just here, at this edge here. So I'm going to mark off this and go like that. Go to the 50-minute chart. And where did it happen? The demand below the trend line that caused this to happen is right here. Okay, just here. And so I'll be pretty comfortable. And we have the area here. Little tiny baby one. I mean, that's tiny. And so I'd probably box off this whole area like so. Maybe even do the whole area like that. If we go to the... Nah, I wouldn't actually when I look on this time frame. I'd box it, I'd leave it like that. That's fine. And then I would move this down to here. That would be my entry there, because it looks much nicer on this time frame, okay? I like that. We have trend line breakage. This is where it happened. You want to get super meticulous. Parent, child, child, child. The one that left is this one. And so put the entry at the low of the pullback. So the slingshot is pulled back to where? To here before it left. So actually I will probably go... I'll probably go like this. Put it like that. The stop could be like that. Minus a few pips. We'll just drag it down to there. I think we should be good to go. Yeah, this school's so funny. You can probably hear the kids screaming in the background. It's just this is like an enormous campus, and it's like all these massive bamboo buildings, and just kids running around, music here, and Bahasa Indonesia classes there, and it's crazy. And I'm close to something called an iHub, which is it's like a workshop where they can learn to do all sorts of stuff, and so there's a big group of kids just entering, hence the noise. Damn kids, so noisy. Right, let's put this on. Put it on 8. Six, 7, 7, 8. The stop is 6, 7, 50. We'll set this to expire in a couple of days as well. Okay. I figured if it hasn't pulled back to by then I don't want to be it anyway, because if price manages, the reason that's important is because if price manages to move up and start to accumulate form supply above, then this is not going to hold. You want price to kind of move into it pretty quickly after it's defined, because if price goes up and then comes down, well, then I wouldn't want to be in there. The sentiment could have changed in the meantime. Kids. Right. So that's what we have there. Okay. We have the rally, accumulation, pop. This is the edge of that zone. Okay, just there. I move up just a little bit so we can get the spread in. Sudden. Like that. That's perfect. Move those. Cool, back to the 4-hour chart. And look at that. That's like serious currency strength divergence there. Nice. Okay, so let's have a look at Singaporean dollar, American dollar. Wow, Singaporean dollar. What is it doing? Looks like I've got a trade in there. That's right, I've got the ammunition here, waiting for price to figure out what it's going to do. I'm expecting price to do something like this. So we have this, maybe push lower and then like this on the back side of the trend line and do this, and then go to the heavens. Right. But this is in it's kind of a counter trend trade because the currency strength information isn't supporting that. Another thing I'm not believing too much is the Singaporean dollar strength. I think I'm lacking historical data with my broker, and so I'm not paying too much attention to this line here. I'm going to leave it. So we'll see. If it dies, it dies. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not too fussed. I know what my risk is, and so I don't mind what happens. live to trade another day. Okay, let's have another one like an obscure one, maybe the Aussie, Japanese yen. Let's see what these two are doing. Okay, so here we have some interesting stuff. I'm looking to sell up there, as you can see, and up here we have the Japanese yen, which is really strong, the Aussie, which is really weak, and now they look like mirrors of each other. This is interesting, and this is telling us that the flows that are driving this currency pair are driving these currencies are primarily coming from this currency pair being traded, especially on this time frame here, this daily chart here. This is very beautiful. You can see they're starting to move together, and the Aussie crossed the yen already. This happened on the 25th. Let's go to the 25th. Where's the 25th? 25th is here. So now, I mean, it looks like we're going to move higher from here. So I mean, I see that and I think, okay, cool. So I want to maybe start buying. Let's mark off these highs. To the 30-minute chart. Let's see what we have. And we have this just in here, and I like that. I really like that. You see, we have the area. We go to the hourly chart. It's probably clear and zoom in. So we have this area here kind of moved, and price went up. Accumulation price went up, pulled back, and then went up. And so, matter of fact, I'm probably pretty comfortable trading like this. Okay, so I'm probably going to go to a 5-minute chart just to have a closer look at that area. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good there. Yeah, and you can see we have it pull back this wick here, so I'll probably go like that. I want to get the spread in as well, so I'd be pretty keen on doing something like that. Let's go like that. Yeah, that looks fine. Go to the 1 minute and see what's going there. And then you can see the price kind of left on this candle here. Yeah. Not going to get too silly. I'm just going to say it left from kind of the bottom of this area here, so I'm going to go, my entry is going to be like that. My stop will be around here. Now I go to the bigger time frames here. What does that look like there? Does that look alright? It does. It's kind of the edge of these, it's at the edge of this candle here, kind of rally, accumulation, rally. But I'd be pretty comfortable in doing that. Okay, but I want it to be below the low of here, because when this one left, it didn't pull back very far. What happened there? So price could. That's a tough call. Essentially, you'd want to do something like that. But because we have a big pin bar there, I'm not sure the price will get there. Is what I'm trying to say. So I think what we'll do is we'll put it on kind of on the big figure. Like that, and stop there, and I think we'll be good to go. So I'll leave it at that. It's also kind of, this is the area that caused like the break of the trend line on the hourly chart. And we have a pretty, kind of this candle here kind of left, we closed above the highs. And so I want to be around there, plus the spread. Okay, so I'm going to put that on. Oops. This is hourly demand. 7,800. Oops. We'll go 01. 77.76. Try 78. Boom. I'll let this expire in a couple of days as well. Alright, so let's see where we want to put our targets. We have opposing something. We go to opposing something. This has been tested, so I think I'm comfortable putting at the highs here. Yeah, we'll see how that gets on. Damn, these kids are noisy. Cool. I think I'll wrap it up with this. I can see more kids approaching. It's getting really noisy, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I apologize for the racket, and I'll wrap it up now. But if you have any questions, send them in. And next time I do a symposium, maybe now in a second, I'll do on kind of like how I start the day when I look at my charts in the morning. Cool, I'll leave it at that. Send your questions to the forum. Thanks for watching.